Hello, this is the Daily Forex Report for September 9th. We are looking at the US-Japanese yen pair first. This pair created an inside bar just barely to the upside, but it did create it. It's moving sideways, biased to sideways. Look for it to potentially go as high as 84.42, possibly as low as 82.87. Look for some resistance around 84.15 and look for some support around 83.25. Now, looking at the Euro-USD pair, this pair closed down. It did break the previous session's high, but just by a little bit. Did not break the low. However, this pair is moving sideways. Look for it to potentially go as high as 128.40, possibly as low as 125.81. Look for some resistance around 127.75, and look for some support around 126.25. Now, the pound-US dollar pair, this pair has created an inside bar. Look for it to move sideways. Overall, it has been moving sideways. Look for that to continue, potentially moving as high as 155.57, possibly as low as 152.80. Look for some resistance around 155.00, and look for some support around 153.50. Okay, now the US Swiss. This particular pair closed higher. It has been moving sideways over the past couple of sessions. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 1.0225, possibly as low as 1.0032. Look for some resistance around 1.0175, and look for some support around 1.0057. Okay, now as far as news announcements go, we have the Canadian dollar releasing their net change in unemployment, or employment rather, for August tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Consensus on that is that it has moved from a negative 9.3K to 30K. We also have the Chinese Consumer Price Index being released at 10 a.m. or p.m. rather, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Year to date, August, or they're showing the year to date, but it's the August numbers, showing an increase from 3.3% to 3.5% overall. Now, what am I looking for going into this next session? Well, we have a swing trade in the US Swiss that has occurred. We have a swing trade set up over these past 3 sessions. Looking for a break here. We do have an area of previous resistance here that we need to be aware of, but it's real close to our breakout, fairly close. So you may want to either take a 10 pip or just be aware that it potentially could reverse at that point. So you need to be aware of it. The nice thing is, if it does break above that, our next area really opens up, and we have a good distance to travel before we hit another area of what would now be resistance, about 36 pips. Total, you should be able to pull about 46 pips out of this. Grab your 10, go to break even, and then see if it'll run is a great strategy to use. Now, looking at the pound US dollar pair, we do have an inside bar. Look for an inside bar breakout, which would be taking out the high and the low of the previous bar before the inside bar. Looking at this one, you can see that we have a high that matches previous support, and our next area that we would track would be probably this high right here, and then even further, if we get a break to the upside, that would be at least 42 pips that it should go, potentially up to this area, which would be probably close to 100 pips worth of movement. Now, if it breaks to the downside, we have less room really to wiggle, so to speak, before we hit some areas of support. So if you're going to check out a breakout to the downside, if you're going to take a breakout to the downside, you really need to be cognizant of where these areas of support are and make sure that you look for them, because it can come up quick. Now, looking at the US-Japanese yen pair, we have an inside bar here as well, just by a pip on the upside. Downside, I wouldn't take a downside. However, if it does break this low, it's the lowest we've seen in a long time. If it broke it by, if it broke the 83.15, then I'd look for it to travel pretty far down. However, historically, over several years, if not decades, this has been a strong area of support. So I do anticipate it breaking, moving back up to the upside. which our next area that you can look for would be around 60 pips up. So that's one way to look at it. Well, that about wraps us up for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.